Good day, everyone. It's November 5, 2025, and we are just hours past a landmark ruling from the Johannesburg High Court that has sent shockwaves through South Africa. Yesterday, Judge Adams delivered a powerful verdict declaring that actions of Operation Dudula, a vigilante group targeting African migrants, unlawful. This group, known for blocking foreigners from clinics, harassing them on the streets, and demanding identity documents, has been slapped with an interdict. The court ruled that only police and immigration officials can request identification, and it ordered the government to enforce its 2019 National Action Plan to combat xenophobia. This is a moment of reckoning, but also a mirror reflecting deep divisions among Africans on this continent. As someone watching from the diaspora, I'm torn. On one hand, I celebrate this victory for human dignity. Judge Adams' words, "Human dignity has no nationality," resonate globally. On the other, I'm alarmed by the backlash. Social media is ablaze with threats to ignore the ruling, and the tension in Johannesburg's township feels like a powder keg. Why are Africans turning against each other like this? And what does this say about our shared history and future? Let us dive in. To understand today, we must know our history. South Africa's struggle against apartheid was not fought alone. The frontline states, countries like Zimbabwe, Mozambique, Angola, and Tanzania, sheltered freedom fighters, providing training grounds, and sacrificed lives to end white minority rule. Nelson Mandela himself acknowledged this day, calling these nations the backbone of liberation. Yes, yet fast forward to 2025, and we see a stark irony. Zandile Dabula, the leader of Operation Dudula, appeared on a live TV interview recently and revealed a stunning ignorance of this history.
Ms. Dabula, let me just ask an open-ended question. If I say frontline states, what comes to mind and what can you say in relation to that?
So now this is about the people. We have this Freedom Charter where Operation Dudula is entrenching the Freedom Charter that says people shall govern. And currently we don't have leaders. We are on autopilot, and that's where Operation Dudula comes in.
No, I'm asking about frontline states.
Frontline states. So this is about taking this together with.
If I say to you frontline states, from a historical perspective, what comes to mind as we have this conversation?
The frontline states, I would believe it's about the people in power.
He obviously doesn't know what a frontline state is. Okay. He obviously doesn't know what a frontline state is.
When asked about frontline states' role, she stumbled, showing zero awareness of how these nations bled for South Africa's freedom. This amnesia is not just personal. It is a collective failing that fuels today's xenophobia. The roots of this tension stretch back decades. Since the end of apartheid in 1994, South Africa has been a beacon for economic migrants from across Africa. By 2022, the Institute of Security Studies estimated 3.9 million immigrants lived here, many fleeing war or poverty in Zimbabwe, Malawi, and Mozambique. Ironically, some of those frontline states. But as unemployment soared to 33% and inequality widened, a narrative took hold. Foreigners are stealing jobs and resources. The 2008 xenophobic attacks, which killed 62 people, were a grim precursor. Operation Dudula, emerging in 2021, capitalized on this, rebranding "Push Out" in Zulu as a call to action. Their raids, like the 2023 murder of Zimbabwean trader 𝒂𝒉𝙞𝒔, showed how far this has escalated. Yesterday's court ruling, based on a 2023 application by groups like Africa Against Xenophobia, details over 30 affidavits of harassment. It is a legal triumph, but it is also a cry for us to remember our past. The African Union's Agenda 2063 dreams of a united continent. Yet we are fracturing along national lines. History teaches us that division weakens us. Apartheid thrived on it. If we forget the solidarity that brought us freedom, we will risk losing the future we are building. Now, let us go to the African question and the diaspora perspective. So, why are Africans turning against each other? The answer lies in a mix of economic despair and political opportunism. South Africa's public health system, serving 85% of its population, is overburdened, and Operation Dudula's leader, Zandile Dabula, argues on BBC that we can't cater for the whole globe. But this ignores the Constitution's guarantee of healthcare for all, regardless of status. It also sidesteps the real issue: government failure to address unemployment and service delivery. Vigilantes fill this vacuum, scapegoating migrants rather than challenging systematic growth. From the diaspora, whether in London, Toronto, or Atlanta, this looks like a betrayal. We fled the same struggles: war, poverty, corruption. Yet we build communities that uplift each other. The African Diaspora Network reports remittance to Africa hit $100 billion in 2024, a testament to our solidarity. Seeing South Africans attack Zimbabweans or Somalis feels like watching family fight over crumbs. The table remains unequal. The 7,500 refugee cap imposed by the US in 2025, prioritizing white South Africans, adds another layer. Global power exploit our divisions too. Operation Dudula's ignorance of history, like Dabula's TV blunder, is a symptom. If we don't teach our children about the frontline states or the 1976 Soweto uprising, Pan-African roots, we raise generations blind to our unconnectedness. This ruling is a chance to reset, but only if we confront this ignorance head on. Now, let us look at the EFF press statement. Yesterday, the Economic Freedom Fighters, EFF, led by Julius Malema, welcomed the court ruling with a press statement that is worth noting. They called it a decisive blow against xenophobic vigilantism, aligning with their pan-Africanist rhetoric. The EFF has historically criticized Operation Dudula, labeling them criminals in cahoots with ministers, and the statement reinforces that stance. They urged the government to enforce the interdict and protect all residents, legal or not, echoing the country's emphasis on dignity. This is a shift for the EFF, which has at times flirted with anti-immigrant sentiment to appease local voters. Their support is a welcome pivot, but it is bittersweet. The diaspora cheers this stance, seeing it as a return to the party's radical roots. Yet, some on X question their sincerity, pointing to past restaurant raids demanding local hires. Still, this statement could pressure other parties to prioritize unity over division, a small but vital step. So, where do we go from here? This ruling is not the end. It is the beginning. We must use it to educate, heal, and unite. Schools should teach the frontline states' sacrifices along South Africa's liberation. Community dialogues, like those proposed in the National Action Plan, must replace vigilante patrols, and the diaspora can lead. Organizing webinars, funding education, or pressuring governments to address root causes like unemployment. Africans turning against Africans is not our destiny. Our history, from the anti-colonial struggle to the AU's vision, shows we thrive together. Let's honor Judge Adams' words by making dignity a shared value, not a national privilege. The future depends on it. If we fall, we risk not just more court battles, but a continent fractured beyond repair. Thank you for joining me today. This is more than a legal story. It is a call to remember who we are. Share your thoughts below, subscribe for more, and let's keep this conversation alive. Until next time, stay informed, stay united. This is Kelvin Jasi at Africarized, signing off.